of St. Pete. Andretti Global heads there after a couple of street circuit wins last year, and Marcus Ericsson heads there as a former winner in St. Pete, a 2023 winner, in fact. On Sunday, Marcus begins his eighth season in the NTT IndyCar Series and his third with Andretti Global as he'll drive the number 28 Delaware Life Honda. And Marcus joins us this morning. No, it's been a busy couple of last weeks between content days, tests at Sebring, the open test at Phoenix last week. How much are you really ready to officially get started here in 2026, Marcus?
Yeah, I'm super excited to finally get going again. It's been an interesting off season. I've been working a lot on myself with the team as well, and then I felt like we had really good tests in Sebring and Phoenix, so we're going in with good momentum into St. Pete, and you need that because it's gonna get busy quick this year. You know, it's really a hectic start to the year, but we love that. That's exactly what we want. So yeah, exciting to be in St. Pete. It's always a highlight, like you said there in the intro. Won there in the past, and we are normally very strong on street courses in Andretti as well. So we are, really looking forward to kicking off our season in St. Petersburg.
Yeah, four races in March. That's never happened in the NTT IndyCar Series, so it's going to come fast and furious for us for sure. I want to go off topic if I can, just because I thought this is really cool. Yesterday, you visited Peyton Manning Children's Hospital and met with some what they call patient ambassadors who designed your race hats as part of an initiative with Delaware Life. Tell us about that program a little bit, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so it came up here a couple months ago. I've done a lot of things in the community of obviously living in Indianapolis since 8 years now. Crazy time flies, but really feeling part of the community here, and been doing some stuff with the children's hospitals here in the past, and the Group 1001 and Delaware Life, have done a lot of things together with Peyton Manning Children's Hospital, and they had this idea of doing something really interacting with the kids there and getting them involved. So we came up with this idea of them designing some hats that I would wear on the race weekends when Delaware Life would be my primary sponsor. So I went there yesterday, met up with a bunch of kids there, and was just hanging out, interacting with them, and then they were painting these hats, which was really funny. They were really It was fun to see how different, the different kids were taking this task, and all of them super excited, of course, to know that I will wear that specific hat for a race weekend, and they will see it on TV. So that was really cool, and yeah, just be part of that, and then hopefully inspire them and put a smile on their faces was really cool, and yeah, it's a great initiative, and something I'm really proud to be part of.
Yeah, and like you said, as someone that lives in Indy, it's got to mean a great deal to be a part of that initiative locally, but then you carry that forward through seven races this season. So that storytelling goes on, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's the cool thing. It's something that you do here in the local community, but it's also nationwide because I'm bringing that with me all across the country, and representing them, representing the hospital, and all the great things the Bain and Manning Children's Hospital is doing for so many kids, and it's just fantastic to see that, and to in some way help, and help their cause is something that I'm very proud of. So yeah, I'm sure those hats is going to help me get another tenth or two out of my race car on, on those weekends.
Good. Can't wait to see it. All right, we'll open up for questions. Again, if you have a question, use the virtual raised hand function. We'll go around the horn here. Let's start with Zion Brown from the Indianapolis Star. Good morning, Zion.
Morning, Dave. Thank you. Marcus, I just wanted to ask about the season coming up and having your last win be at St. Pete a few years ago. Now in year three with Andretti, just how are you looking to kind of maybe bounce back this year and starting with this weekend?
Yeah, I think it's a perfect place to start at. Like you said, I won there a couple of years ago, and I've been strong there. I feel like every time I've been there, so it's a good track for me. And for us as a group, I feel like we have a lot of good momentum going into the new season. We obviously have Will Power coming in from Penske, and he's been a great addition to the team. But also Ron Ruskowski, who's going to lead the team as also coming from Penske, is done a lot of things as well over the few months it's been here since 1st of January. So there's a lot of good momentum going on, and I feel like looking at myself personally, I've worked really hard this off season. I've tried to really put myself a bit outside my comfort zone to challenge myself in different ways. I've driven a bunch of different cars that I haven't driven in the past, just to sort of put myself in different situations where you're maybe not so comfortable. But I feel like that's been really developing for me, and stuff there I really believe have helped me become a better driver. So I'm excited to get back in an IndyCar and show that on track as well. So yeah, a lot of positive momentum for us going into the St. Pete weekend.
You touched on it with Dave, but just asking more about the start of the year, 4 races in 5 weekends. How important is it knowing that you won't have much of a break just to make sure that you are on point going into the year more than it has been in past years?
Yeah, normally, you have a bit of a slow start in IndyCar. You have a couple of races here in the first few months, and you sort of everyone has time to sort of get into it. You do a race, and then you have time to analyze that and sort of make adjustments, and then go to the next race. Now it's very different this year. You gotta be ready to go when we get to St. Pete. There is no time to sort of feel it out or get up to speed. It's like bang on, and you need to be on it, and hopefully start with a good weekend in St. Pete and bring that momentum to Phoenix and to Arlington. So it's important to be ready when you get there. And I do feel like Andretti Global as a team, we are ready to go when we get there. We've done a really good off season. We have a lot of good people that's ready to go. So it's going to be crucial to have a good start. And also, it always, having a good start of the year builds momentum to May. And May is the month we're all thinking about as well. So having a good start is really helping to build that momentum as well.
Thank you, Marcus.
Thanks, Zion. Let's go Joey Barnes, motorsport.com. Welcome, Joey.
Hey, thanks, Dave. Hey, Marcus.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going, man. Excited to get the season going like you are. Just a couple of quick questions. One, I'm just kind of curious, it's at one point, just a couple years ago, we were talking about you were finishing up there top 6 in the championship, fighting for wins, podiums, et cetera, on a regular basis. And I know that the last couple of seasons haven't gone like you had hoped with coming to Andretti. I'm just kind of curious, how much do you maybe have a chip on your shoulder going into this year to try to make people remember, like, hey, I was the guy that could do this, that was able to fight at the front of the field?
Yeah, I definitely feel like I have that chip on my shoulder going into this season. I felt like, the first year with Andretti was promising. We just didn't manage to finish a lot of races, so we sort of lost a lot of points, but we still had good speed. And yeah, it was a promising first year. And then really it was last year, which should have been a better year, but it was just going the other way. And then it was a really disappointing season. So it's been a lot of sort of looking at myself in the off season, trying to figure out how I can get back to the level I know I can be at. And like I said, like I've shown I can be at. So been a lot of work put in from my side, but also from the team side. They've worked really hard to try and get me more comfortable in the car and sort of get the car more to my liking. Have a new engineer this year in Ron Barhorst. That's it's been a really promising start with him in Sebring and Phoenix. I felt like we've made some big steps to get me the car more in sort of the window I want the car to be in. So that makes me very excited. So there's a bunch of things as always as well. IndyCar is so tight, and I think that's the thing last year, right? It wasn't that we were bad, but we were just missing a little bit. And IndyCar these days, you miss a little bit, suddenly you're P20. It's not like you're 10th or 12th. Like, it's such a competitive field, so you can't be a little bit off with the setup or a little bit off with your driving, because if you are, you're in the back. So I think all those things sort of made it a tough last year, and we've been working hard, like I said, in the off season to come back and be strong. And my mindset is that I want to be back in the front of the field, fighting for podium and wins on a regular basis, and fighting up front in the championship. I know I can do that. I've shown that plenty of times in the past. So that's my big goal for the year.
And this question I'm about to ask is not so fun, but I remember you had a great test at Sebring. You had a really strong test at Phoenix up until the start of that last hour, as we know. And I remember standing with you next to the hauler at the end of that thing, and you were so upset. You were so frustrated and dejected. I know your team was trying to rally you and pick your spirits up and just tell you, like, hey, shake it off. Let's go freaking win St. Pete. For you personally, like, what did you do from that incident to to this week, to the start of this week, to kind of just hit that reset button and just kind of break free? Because obviously that was an incredibly frustrating incident for you. And I'm just kind of curious how you kind of got over that, so you can kind of come into the season and leave that in the past and get this thing rolling right.
Yeah, I mean, that's the tough part with racing, right? It goes very quickly from really good to really bad and stuff like that. And you need to, thankfully I've been around for a while, so I know that feeling. And right then and then, in Phoenix when it happened, I was very frustrated because it was something out of my control that caused a crash. And then, when it happens really by the end of a test and when you've had a really good test, it's just really frustrating. But yeah, I mean, I was frustrated then, and then the next day it's focus on the next thing. And then, I've been really busy studying and just preparing for St. Pete, and then just sort of leave that behind. What happened in Phoenix in the end there, I think, again, like I said, I think the test was really, really good, and whatever happened there in the end didn't take away any of the tests. We really made some really good progress that's going to help us when we come back there in a couple of weeks. So that's part of racing. Sometimes stuff like that happens and you just got to put it behind you and focus forward. And I feel like that's what I've been doing, and the team around me has done as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks, man. And best of luck this weekend and for the season as well.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Joey. Dan Jones, Dive Bomb Motorsports. Welcome, Dan.
Thanks, Dave. Hi, Marcus. Hope you had a good off-season, ready to get going again this week. You gave quite an interesting answer and content there that after the Indy 500, you kind of felt you got into a little bit of a negative spiral after the race, which kind of affected you toward the end of the season. So I guess, why do you think that happened in the first place? And then after that, but maybe how's that negative spiral affect your results for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I mean, the 500 is the biggest race of the year. It's the one that, all the teams work year round towards that race. And also me as a driver, I won that race in the past. I know how much that means to win that race. And that's the biggest focus for me every year, to try and prepare myself and perform at the highest level for that specific race. So I felt like I did a really good job of that last year, and obviously it was very disappointing to miss out on the win, but still was very proud of the second place. And to get that sort of taken away from you again for something that's out of your control, I felt like that was really a tough blow, and it affected my confidence and sort of affected my feelings really. Which in a way I look back at that and learn from that, because I should have been, it's something, again, it's out of my control, so I shouldn't let that affect me, but it did. And also the way the season is in IndyCar, we talk about the start of this season, how hectic it is, and that was the same thing last year after the Indy 500. It was so many races stacked on top of each other, so you didn't really have a chance to sort of lean back and think. It's just race after race. So I think that really affected me and also the team, and especially my 28 team. We were very disappointed about it and what happened. So, it's something, again, you got to learn from that and look at how you can, learn from situations like that. And I feel like we've done that. And again, coming into this year, I've done a lot of work in the off season to prepare to be the best version of myself and be back on the level I know I can be at. So I'm excited to show that on track.
Looking forward to this year, it's believed you're obviously heading into a contract year. So does that change the mindset at all? Does that change the approach, especially heading into the first few races of the year, where obviously people are going to be looking at other people's futures?
I mean, yes and no. It does change it a little bit, but for me personally, before I got to Andretti, every season was a contract year for me. So I always, that was always the case. I was never on more than a 1-year contract ever in my career. So it's sort of back to normal in a way for me that you just live with that pressure. And to be honest, it's nothing that really I feel like it's a bad thing. It's just it's just a part of the game, and it's a result-driven sport, and especially in IndyCar, you got to deliver. And I know what I need to do to show what I can do and to get a good situation for 27 and onwards. So it doesn't really change much for me. I just want to get out there and show my abilities behind the wheel and show what I can do. So that's sort of where my head is at.
Cheers, Marcus. Thanks, Dave. Looking forward to Cars and Trucks week.
Thank you.
We all are, Dan. Thanks. Harvey Briggs, Rides and Drives. Go ahead, Harvey.
Great. Thank you, Dave. And thank you, Marcus, for taking the time. You mentioned that St. Pete is a good track for you. Can you talk about what makes it a good track and what you expect to see this year that may be different from previous years?
Yeah, I think just in general, I love the street courses. It's always been one of my strengths as a driver, and I've won at Detroit, I won in Nashville on streets there as well. So it's always been something that it's been something I like. I like the fact where you don't have a lot of margins for error, where the walls are closed, so you sort of have to be very precise in your driving, and that just suits me and the way I drive. I think St. Pete itself, I think what I really like about that race is just the energy. The whole city sort of rallies around the race, and there's always a lot of Swedish fans coming over for some reason. They want to get out of cold and dark Sweden, I guess, at this time of the year, and that always gives a good boost as well for me. So it's just a cool race to start the season. I think this year is not much different. It's the same as always. It's a great place. I think it's a fantastic place to start the season for us in IndyCar. And again, I go there with good memories. I know how to win that race. I know how to be in the front of the field there. So that's my focus.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thanks, Harvey. Luis Salinas, Deporte Motor in Mexico. Go ahead.
Thank you, Dave. Good morning. Good morning, Marcus. Good morning, everyone on the media here. My first question was a little closer than the Joy spoke some minutes ago. And now I ask, yesterday I seen a Pato on First Things First from FS1 speaking about the season and obviously the start on St. Pete. We'll see you on the next days on TV or your TWG Andretti teammates. I talk this because IndyCar this year, it's a new strategy to promote the events, and obviously you drivers and the different sponsors on different teams.
Yeah. What's the question?
That's
Sorry.
the question. We'll see you on TV or some teammates at TWG Andretti?
For the commercials or?
No. Different shows to promote events.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess, I mean, it's always, IndyCar is always pushing, we're always trying to get our drivers and teams and then, get the series out there. I think it's always a challenge for us, or it's a lot of good sports in the US and the world that we're competing against. I think IndyCar is a great product. I think this year, especially, we have an incredible field with drivers. There is so much competition and so many good drivers. We have Mick Schumacher coming from Europe, from Formula One, with obviously his last name. So I think that's going to help as well. And I feel like we have good momentum, with Fox as well, pushing very hard for the series and getting us out there, trying to show the personalities, because there is a lot of cool personalities in our series. So I think that's a constant thing that we're trying to do as a series, to get out there to on TV, on different events. I was in Texas last weekend in Arlington for the Supercross event there, and so was there with media and everything. So it's a constant thing. It's a constant battle where we try and get our drivers and teams out there and showcase the series, get fans to tune in, because usually when fans tune in on the races or go to a race, they're hooked. So we just need to get more eyeballs on the series, and that's what we're trying to do as much as possible.
Correct. About the next Saturday, so how do you expect about the track? Because before your qualifying session, we'll see first time the NASCAR trucks on street courses. The first one will be St. Pete.
Yeah, no, it will be interesting. Maybe the barriers will be in a completely different place compared to earlier, because I'm sure they're going to be bouncing around quite a bit. So it will be interesting. We'll see how the track changes with different rubber coming down. So yeah, it will be an interesting challenge. But again, it's the same for everyone. So you just got to be, adaptive to that. But in general, I think it's great that they are there as well. It's another great series that we are sharing the track with. So I think that's all positive. And, the week after we're going to Phoenix, and we're going to be sharing the track there as well with NASCAR. So that's going to be really cool as well. So I like that we're doing more stuff like that. I think that's just helping everyone, helping motorsports here in the US grow more, and hopefully getting even more fans to tune in and watch us.
Right. Thank you so much, Marcus. All the best this season. Will be interesting with your teammates and the new teammate Will Power.
Yeah, no, thank you so much.
Thanks, Dave. Gracias.
Thanks, Luis. Let's go Chiara Martin from Pit Debrief, and then John Sturman. That's your hand raised. We'll go to John after that. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Dave. Hi, Marcus. I hope you're well. Now, you mentioned earlier that you've been around for a while. You brought this on yourself. You've raced against Lewis Hamilton in the past, and now you're racing against Alex Palou, who have both really taken the next level of control and consistency in motorsport in general. As a competitor, have you learned anything from, racing alongside Lewis and watching or racing alongside Alex Palou that you're taking onto yourself? And, how do you appreciate motorsport like that, witnessing everything in terms of greatness? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool when I was in Formula One, it was when Lewis was dominating the sport, and it was cool to see that firsthand. Obviously, in F1, you're still quite separated. So when you're not teammates, you don't really interact that much with the other drivers. So even though I was racing with him, you don't really work that closely with your competitors. So it was more just an inspiration to see what he was doing there and how he was able to perform week in and week out and win so many championships. It was, really cool to see, and definitely an inspiration. With Alex, I was teammates with Alex for quite a few years there in Ganassi, and I, got to know him quite well, and he's still, a good friend of mine. I think what he's doing is super impressive because the IndyCar, in comparison to Formula One, it's a one-spec series. So to be able to be dominant like Alex has been here in the last few years is something that's extremely difficult, and it's really cool to see that. Obviously frustrating for the rest of us because we also want to win races and championships. But I gotta give all the respect for Alex and the work he's done, and the 10 car team. The people there, they've really been the ones to beat the last couple of years, and it's giving the rest of us a lot of homework to try and catch up and challenge them, and that's the goal for this year, obviously. But I think it's come down to hard work. Obviously, you gotta have the talent, but also you gotta work hard and work with your team, and all those small details I talked about earlier, how competitive IndyCar is these days. So the smallest things, it all adds up, and I think that's what Alex does really well in IndyCar. He's just really, really good on all aspects of IndyCar racing. Every detail he's really good at. So that all adds up, and makes him a great champion that we're all gonna chase this year.
My next question is actually switching it up a little bit. Now, we're used to seeing drivers from Europe come stateside to give IndyCar a go, but Colton Herta is going to take on the challenge after the opener in St. Pete in Australia. You've raced in Formula 2 and Formula 1 before. Do you have any advice to give Colton taking on this new journey?
I don't know about advice, but I'm, very curious to see how it goes. I've been teammates now the last 2 years with Colton, and I know how talented and how good as a driver he is. So there's no doubt in my mind that he has the talent to succeed in F2 and ultimately in Formula One. I think there's no doubt in my mind about that. So it's more a question about, getting used to the cars, the tracks over there, the tires. They are very different to what we have in IndyCar. So I think that's some of the things where he needs to adapt and learn. But again, I think from what I've seen from Colton, I'm sure he will do that. The question more is, does it take a year or 2 years? What's the timeline? And again, with Formula One, it's all about timing as well, and timing your sort of next move and all those things. But it's going to be really cool to see and watch and follow. And I wish him all the best.
And lastly, you said that you really want a good start, or it's important for you to have a good start in St. Pete this season. What does a good start mean for you? Like, what do you expect for yourself?
It means that I maximize my performance this weekend. It's about, getting everything out of myself in practice, qualifying, in the race. That means I'm winning the race or finishing third or fifth or seventh. That, it's so tight in IndyCar, and there's so many circumstances out of your control that sort of affects that. So for me, I try and really focus on myself and my performance. And if I go away on Sunday afternoon and feel like I've maximized my weekend, I know I'm going to be up there and, have a good result. And that would be a good start for me.
All right, thank you so much. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. We've got another 10, maybe 15 minutes remaining. Let's go, John Sturban. John, to see you. Good to see you back with the Dallas Morning News for the next couple of weeks. Hi, John. John, we cannot hear you, pal. I think you're still on mute.
How's that?
There we go.
There you go. Okay, thanks for the opportunity. Marcus, you know that the race in St. Pete is well established as a street circuit. I'm wondering, when you're headed to the Grand Prix of Arlington on a brand new circuit, what are your biggest concerns? I mean, have you even seen a map of the circuit yet?
I've seen a map of it, but that's about it. So it's gonna be, everyone starts from a clean sheet of paper. It's really a bit going into the unknown. But I like that challenge. I think that's a fun challenge to take on. You need to be very adaptive during first practice, second practice. You need to be ready to change things on the car, on your driving. It's really about adapting to the situation. But I've done that good in the past. When we changed to Nashville, we went there for the first time. I won the first ever street race there on the streets of Nashville. So I feel like I have good memories of those kind of races. And apart from that, it looks like, I was in Arlington this weekend for the Supercross, and I saw some of the track and the track build that's going on there. So I think it's going to be an amazing event. It's really going to be a cool race. I feel like there's a lot of buzz around in Dallas around that race as well. So I'm super excited. I think it's a great addition to the series and to the calendar for us.
Do you have any regrets about the series leaving Texas Motor Speedway after all those years?
Yeah, I do, because I think that is a very, historic race for us. It's a really cool oval. I'm hoping in the future we might come back. But at the same time, adding a race like the Arlington GP, it's just fantastic, and I think it's really gonna bring a lot of more eyeballs to the race from the Dallas crowd, because it's really, you bring the race to the people in a different way when you have it on the streets like we're gonna have. So, I'm excited about that. I wish we could also race at Texas Motor Speedway, but who knows what happens in the future.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. Mahika from Apex 23. Go ahead.
Hi, Marcus. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
It's really lovely to speak to you. So, a little throwback. I know 2025 was quite challenging for you. It's obviously disappointing because it's not where you want it to be. However, that wasn't always the case. I mean, you have won the 500, you won in Nashville, you won at St. Pete as well. So it's never really been that sort of a thing that's been constant. However, when you go through these challenging phases, as a driver especially, it takes a mental toll on you. So how do you sort of protect that confidence and belief that you have in yourself as a driver when the results are not reflecting the hard work that you're putting in?
I mean, that's a constant challenge for, I think, all drivers, because you go up and down in your career. You have, really good parts, and then you have tougher parts. So that's a constant challenge. I've, been working on my mental strength throughout my career. Is something I put a lot of, effort into. As much as I go to the gym, as much as I work constantly on my mental strength. So when you have years like I had last year, that really, it's important to continue that. And I have a great trainer in Sweden that I work with on a weekly basis. So it's it's a constant thing, and it's in top level sports. It's a really important thing to work on your mental strength. So that's been it's always been a thing for me, to be honest. Obviously, with experience, that there's going to be ups and downs in your career. So it doesn't make me worried, but it makes you appreciate when things go well. And then, when things doesn't go as well, you got to just dig deep and work hard and get back to where you want to be.
And building off of that, IndyCar can, it's obviously it feels like a three-way street between the driver, their team, and the car. So following a short break and then returning to Phoenix and Sebring for the testing season as well, how do you think the relationship between your team and sort of the chemistry between you guys has changed following the break, as well as your connection to your car?
Yeah, I think, we've had some good tests here leading up to the season. I have some new people on my car, new engineer, new strategist. So we've been sort of starting that process of working together, and it's been really promising. We've made some good progress, I feel like, on the car side. Like I mentioned earlier, you're just getting the car a little bit more to my liking in the way it sort of behaves on track. So that's a constant thing that you always try and figure out and try and improve. Again, IndyCar is so competitive these days. So if you can find even 100th or 2 of a second, that's going to be worth it, because it might be a position or 2 on the racetrack. So it's all about looking into all those smaller details and work with your team around you. And I feel like I have an extremely strong team on the 28 car this year. So I'm excited to get to St. Pete now and get going and sort of show that on track as well.
Thank you so much, Marcus. Best of luck. Really excited to see you in St. Pete.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we've got time for one, maybe 2 more. So I apologize ahead of time. We're not going to be able to get to everyone today. Let's go to Megan Smith, the girls who. Megan, go ahead.
Hi Marcus, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, thanks.
So this is your 8th IndyCar season. Since you joined, how have you grown as a driver?
It's a good question. Yeah, it's first of all, it's pretty crazy to say it's starting my 8th season. It feels like not that long ago I came over here after my Formula One stint, and yeah, now we're sitting here going into my 8th season. I think one of the things I wanted to do coming here to IndyCar was to show for myself mainly that I could perform at the top level and win races and fight in the front. That was one of the biggest motivations I wanted to come here, because I felt like in Formula One I never really got an opportunity to really show my talent and my skills as a driver. And I feel it's safe to say that I've been able to do that here, winning multiple races and winning the biggest race of them all, the 500. So I'm very proud of that. But still, I still have more goals to achieve. I want to win more races. I want to win at least another 500. So that sort of drives me every day to become better. And yeah, just try and be better every year. I think that's the thing that really I try and pride myself with, to try and always be a better version of myself every season, try and learn from my mistakes, and just be better and better every year.
And St. Pete's the site of your last win, but what's the most challenging aspect of the track?
I think the sort of section from turn 4 to 9 is very technical. It's very sort of flowy and technical. You need to really have a car that behaves the way you want, but also have a good flow in your driving through there. So I think that section is really tough. And also the start finish straight, being on the air landing strips there, it's quite a difficult braking into turn 1 with the lower grip surface on the white strips there. And then just in general, being the first race of the year, it's just everyone has been out of racing in IndyCar for a while, so everyone is sort of eager to get going. So it's always a challenge because of that, I think.
Amazing. And then finally, why does it make such a good track to open the season?
I think it's a combination of things. I think the setting down there by the water is really cool. It's a perfect sort of I think visual place to be to start the year, but also the city of St. Petersburg really comes together for the race. I feel like everyone is excited about it. You can walk downtown during the weekend and everyone is just buzzing around the race, all the restaurants, and everything is just really excited to have the race there. And there's so much fans showing up every year. So I feel like the atmosphere just makes it a really cool place to kick off our season. And I also strongly believe that all the drivers are really excited to be there, so it's just a combination of those things. And usually the race is also a really good race. So it's just a perfect place to start the season.
All right. Good luck this weekend. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Megan. Let's go one more before you wrap up. Ellie Roddy from the fastest sector. Welcome, Ellie.
With Will Power being your new teammate for this season, has he shared any advice for you and Kyle Kirkwood for you two to help win the constructors this season?
Yeah, I think Will has come in with a lot of good, good ideas, good, just thinking how he's, going about racing. He's been top level driver here for 20 years, and he really is a legend of the sport. So for us to have him in the team now and being able to learn from him, for me and Cal, that's been really good here in the first part of the year. And I'm sure we're going to be able to learn a lot off of him during the season. But also the way he, his technical feedback, how he sees racing, has been really impressive to see firsthand. So I think he's going to be a great addition in driving the development of the cars and sort of from weekend to weekend, helping us being in the right right place with our cars. And also on a competitive side, for me and Cal to go up against Will and race with him is going to be really, really good. So I've been, super impressed with Will so far.
How would you say your journey has shaped you into the driver you are today?
I think it's been a lot of tough years that's really shaped me. I think it's really made me mentally very strong. Coming up 5 years in Formula One, when I was running mostly in the back, was really mentally tough. So it took me a lot of mental strength to sort of get out of that and get back to being a race winner in IndyCar and winning the 500. And then now again, last year was a tough year for me. So I've had to really dig deep and work hard in this off season to come out and have a strong year this year. So I think all those ups and downs really shape you as a driver, as a person. I believe all those things really makes you stronger in the end. So that's how I really see it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ellie. Again, apologies, not going to be able to get to everyone today. But Marcus, thank you very much for hopping on.